Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So we got to talk about North Carolina because just recently, Lara Trump thought it would be funny to throw cold water on us and decided that she would not run for this said seat, which ultimately would determine this seat pretty much going Republican for sure. Because with, of course, the Trump name on the ballot, and being a midterm year, which would benefit Republicans in a high propensity state for Republicans, it would guarantee the seat. But of course, Lara Trump threw cold water and decided not to run, thus said endorsing Michael Whately along with President Trump. And I'm very skeptical because obviously I like Michael Whately, and I say that because I like the reason why I'm skeptical is because I like Michael Whately, is why I am skeptical of him running, because we got to remember that, you know what, we just got rid of a bad RNC last year, okay? Ronna McDaniel, who was incompetent, who was the result of the Republicans losing tons and tons of House seats like crazy. We got rid of her, and we got a good chairman. And just recently, the RNC has been making a lot of questionable moves, a lot of moving around. Lara Trump resigned. Now Michael Whately stepping down, allegedly. He has not declared his campaign yet. But the question is, if he decides to run for this Senate seat, then we got to have a serious conversation. Who's going to be the next RNC chairman? And we got to not let it be an incompetent RNC leader like Ronna McDaniel and someone who just wants to kick the can across the road. I think that's going to be a video for another time. But let's just say if Michael Whately does not run, then Republicans in North Carolina should be concerned. Okay, so why should we be concerned? This is a state that is high propensity for Republicans. Why are you telling us to be concerned? I'm just want to tell you to be weary, because for once, Democrats are organized in an election, specific in the wrong state, North Carolina. They got their guy, allegedly, and it's going to allegedly be, who is it? Oh yeah, Wally Nichols actually withdrawing, and which is bad because Roy Cooper actually might be running to replace him, which would be tragic. Okay, so all right, so I guess North Carolina has been up in the air for a very long time. So this is a very complicated election. You both have, but then again, if they get Roy Cooper running, we got to be concerned, because Roy Cooper, I guess, on paper, he is a strong candidate. Mainly, he does benefit because he ran in election years. This time might be different because he was elected in 2016. Did very good against a very unpopular governor. Was elected in 2020, but it was re-elected in 2020, but it really had to do with the Biden cocktail effect in that said state. So a lot has happened in recent days. So I would not panic if Roy Cooper were to run. He is a well-known, recognized governor, but I would imagine his approval has dropped. It's quite a bit, and it's going to be hard for him to get his supporters out in a year where his supporters, it's kind of hard to get Democrats out in voting in a midterm election in North Carolina as it is. How do I know this? Take a look at the judicial races. Roe v. Wade was on the mind of many North Carolinians. There is no doubt about it. If there was a ballot measure placed right in front of their faces, that they would likely approve of Roe v. Wade into law. What happened? Well, apparently, as North Carolina Democrats ran with the narrative that Republicans in North Carolina wanted to strip women of rights, etc., 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 and that they're bad, they want women to die. What happens? Republicans win every single seat in North Carolina. Every single contested seat by over a point. Like, we got this seat right here, Supreme Court seat, Richard Diaz defeated Lucy Inman by like 5 points. You got Trey Allen defeating Sam Irvin by around the same margin. You got also Julie Tate Flood defeating Caroline Jennings Thompson. Okay, and by same margin. Biggest victory, Donna Stroud literally trouncing, getting huge numbers in the West. Trouncing Brad A. Sullivan. And then you got John Tyson. And I mean, it would be expected, and most of us would expect, that Democrats would pick up a number of seats in North Carolina. And they didn't pick anything up. In probably the best year for North Carolina Democrats when it comes to judicial races, they gained nothing. Absolutely nothing. Why? Because of the propensity vote. Republicans have lots of propensity vote. Democrats have to rely solely on African Americans, on African American support. A lot of African Americans don't like to vote in the midterms. Same deal in Georgia and Alabama. It's just they really struggle, especially in the South, that getting out the vote effort. So that does not help them. You'll notice they do very well in election years, like presidential election years, like not to mention this time around in the 2024 the gubernatorial race in 2024. You had the Attorney General of North Carolina literally sweeping the lieutenant governor out of office, making him unemployed. And I'm telling you right now, being straight and honest with you, he wouldn't be able to do that. He wouldn't be able to do that if he was, let's just say, he wouldn't be able to do that if this was a midterm year. In that sense, Mark Robinson probably would have won because Josh Stein had the black vote coming out to vote for him. It benefited that Mark Robinson had that scandal, and that obviously that really hurt. And I just don't think just the scandal alone, like, okay, you made an inappropriate comment. He must have said very rude a remark regarding to women or something like that in an online porn forum. Because usually people wouldn't get mad at people that would watch porn. I mean, that's not a normal thing to do, honestly. And I mean, I would just be, a lot of liberals love porn. I mean, like, what? Why are they concerned? But it's more of what he said on the forum about, obviously, like, even some Republicans are saying, I don't really want to endorse, and even Tom Tillis is like, It's more that, obviously, he said probably a very, 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 very offensive thing about women, and I'm not going to research it. I don't think it's important, but that obviously crashed his support amongst fellow Republican women. But that alone, just Mark Robinson was just a bad candidate in this said race to begin with. I remember doing a video in early last year, maybe 2023. I was so excited for Mark Robinson. I said, oh, he was going to win. Oh, no, I'm like, nope, because I underestimated Josh Stein. Josh Stein, I guess, is, of course, a very, Red Eagle is correct. There's a trend lately where the people named Josh, okay? If you guys have someone running named Josh, a Democrat named Josh in your state, you got to beware because they tend to blow it out in elections. Attorney generals named Josh tend to blow out in landslide performance. You can compare this to 2024 North Carolina and 2022 Pennsylvania. Lots in common. But then again, Joe Lombardo and Mark Robinson were just bad candidates. I mean, Mark Robinson, however, he's not necessarily a bad candidate. I just think he was really, really, really relying on that Trump to carry him through, and just that didn't work. I mean, you can obviously win as at the bottom of the ticket, while Roy Cooper, his boss, won a second term. That can obviously happen, but obviously not everything's meant to be. But it is frustrating that had to happen. But looking at the trend, I do think it's possible that we can grab a candidate or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. Got Don Davis publicly expressing because he knows he might run for re-election. Roy Cooper's announcement is expected in 2 days, actually, because this is like a last-minute decision. Seeing how quickly this has developed, it's likely that Roy Cooper is going to run. I'm just going to tell you, be straight out honest with you. Roy Cooper may run, and I am concerned about it. I think, honestly, we should not panic. That means that for sure we need to be organized and find the right candidate, because we want to keep North Carolina, and we want to keep North Carolina red, and we shouldn't give anything to this guy who has had a long enough electoral history. If you ask me, 2000's a long time. You can see he has held the East, and he's lost a lot of support since then. But, and again, I would not be. I mean, he could come out and say, "I'm running," like right when I post this video. So I won't be surprised if someone tells me that he's running. That's too bad. But then again, Republicans cannot be complacent over this, and they need to double down on and pick a candidate. I'm not kidding. I mean, we got lots of choices in North Carolina. This is a generally Republican state. I'm critical of Michael Whately running because although he's a good RNC chair, he could keep North Carolina red. I do not doubt that he wouldn't. It's more that he specifically, we have no real candidate to make no real candidate or no real chair that will continue to make this said seat red. So, like, for instance, like future seats, and we risk getting a Ronna McDaniel 2.0. It's like gambling. You know, we're doing tons of gambling right now. We got rid of a bad RNC. We're gambling for a new one. We got a good one, but the RNC wants to continue to gamble and get an even better one. And I'm just saying, if you continue to gamble and play this game, you're going to run out of money and you end up with a really, really, really bad RNC chair. And then everyone's going to be looking at the RNC like, why are you guys doing this? So, right now, the only candidates running is Robert Kuhn, and Don Brown is pretty much the only experienced candidate running. And I don't want to add those two and do a scenario because we know for sure they're likely not going to become the nominees. Like, I doubt Don Brown, although he was the nominee for the 8th District, he will for sure lose if he were to run against a Roy Cooper. But let's just say in just a lousy, lazy scenario, let's do a Brown versus, to actually indicate where we are right now. I would say Brown would win, mainly because of the propensity vote. Robert Kuhn, we don't really know who he is. Let's see, he is... Nope. No one knows who he is. So he's not really qualified, in other words. Brown was on the ballot once. So I think Brown would probably win. But if this was the likely scenario, and I don't think he would, reason, he's not, I think it's very, very, very unlikely that he's going to be the nominee for the said seat. But we can actually pull up the United States Senate race in North Carolina from 2022. A lot of people say that it's probably going to look very likely like this map. This is pretty much a map that looks like a low propensity Democrat map, because we saw this county. This is a Kamala Harris county, and we knew that Besley couldn't pick up that county. Ted Budd did. We know that county's mostly Democrat, but the problem is not all the Democrats came out and voted, which gave Ted Budd and Republicans the victory there. So I'm guessing that would probably be the case there. I probably would imagine that this county would go red as well. I think. Well, you also got the college students. Yeah, New Hanover. The college. They're the low propensity vote when you have the college students slacking and not getting out to vote. So yeah, it's getting a little lighter. So you might have that sort of deal. I'm not sure. But there might be some that might come out. But this is not really an entertaining race in some way, shape, or form. Probably give this seat. There we go. It's probably going to look like an average Supreme Court race. Which, would look a little weirder. But I have New Hanover actually going Republican as of right now. A little risk. But this is kind of what I'm thinking the map is looking like right now. Brown would win because of that. The Republicans are the propensity vote. We'll go ahead and give that county there too. But yeah, I do not expect it's going to turn out like this. Like I said, Cooper's probably going to run. This is what it's likely looking like. But we can beat him. It's not the end of the world. We got to add context into it. The reason why Cooper's winning and Josh Stein is winning, they're running in election years. They're running in years where, yeah, they have the vote. They have those Democrat voters. They have the black voters out en masse. Terry Besley, she would win. She would have all the African Americans united, but she didn't because they all didn't come out to vote for her because a lot of them don't like voting in the midterms. So you cannot expect that to be the same for Roy Cooper. But anyway, I would still have faith in North Carolina that'll go our way. But what do you guys think in regards to this video? Let me know down below. And as always, I will see you all in the next political episode.